It's 6:45 local on the 10th of August 2025. In the South China Sea, the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group picks up multiple unknown tracks on long-range radar. Alarms blare. Sailors race to battle stations. Outside the carrier's beam, bright streaks tear the sky. High-speed anti-ship missiles are already inbound. On the flight deck, jet crews strap in. The command bridge narrows to a single focus. Survive the next minutes. Below, escort destroyers and cruisers spin their radars and ready SM-6 and SM-2 missiles. Electronic warfare drones fan out, jammers clicking on. On the horizon, shore-based launchers and armored columns silhouette against dawn. The crew has no script, only fast choices and steady hands. One mistake and a ship could be lost. Across the group, commanders trade terse updates. Radar tracks, missile speeds, likely launch sites, and which assets must die to save the rest. Aegis consoles paint trajectories. RQ-21 electronic warfare drones cycle through frequencies to blind coastal radars. This is not training, this is real. In the South China Sea, sea lanes look routine. Tankers, box ships, and cable, laying boats moving along corridors that keep lights on back home. At 220 nautical miles southeast of Hainan, the Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group rides guard over that flow. The job is dull until it isn't. One bad hour here ripples to grocery shelves, gas pumps, and factory shifts. That is why the group is on station. And if a U.S. cruiser takes a hit, the story leads every screen. Across the coastline, Chinese units build a shield to push the U.S. back. HQ-9B air defenses. Coastal launchers for YJ-21 anti-ship missiles, armored brigades near Guangzhou, and J-20 stealth patrols. The message is simple: American ships are not welcome. Washington's answer is clear: keep sea routes open, hold a free navigation line, and prove shore missiles don't decide who sails. The carrier group must guard commerce while operating inside the enemy's shadow. China bets speed. America bets training and layers. Ford brings 90 aircraft and a web of escorts, Aegis destroyers and a cruiser with Spy-6 and Spy-1 DV. Watch the sky. RQ-21 drones carry jammers to blur hostile radars. Switchblade 600 loiters for armor strikes. Each tool buys seconds, the only currency that matters when missiles fly. The group drills a plain loop. Find, jam, shoot, move. Every ping and radio call feeds that loop. The stakes reach past 2 flags. If the U.S. flinches, insurers price these waters like a war zone, and ships divert, prices rise, allies hedge, and Beijing gains leverage without firing again. If China's shield cracks, coastal bases lose face, and the cost of coercion spikes. Either way, escalation lurks. Short battles settle little, but they set narratives. Markets read those signals fast. Who holds the line tonight, America or China? Comment 1 or 9 and subscribe to follow the fight. 7 local. The Aegis screens show a fan of red icons arcing in from the northwest. Analysts count at least a dozen YJ-21 anti-ship missiles, each the size of a bus, moving at hypersonic speed. USS Mason reports lock. USS Lake Champlain confirms track. The order is simple: fire. Standard missile, 6 batteries ignite, trails slicing upward. Each interceptor is $1 million shot fired in pairs to guarantee kills. The first wave meets them head-on. Bright bursts at 60 miles. Sailors cheer, but no one believes the threat is over. A second ripple rides behind the first. The sky is a chessboard now. Every square contested. RQ-21 drones, jam coastal radars, buzzing the enemy's picture. It buys seconds, but the YJ-2 already crossed halfway. The carrier group can't run. They hold their ground to protect the convoy lanes. That choice means they must absorb or destroy every inbound strike. The Gerald R. Ford launches FA-18 Super Hornets. Pilots push throttles and climb, carrying air-to-air missiles and laser pods. Their mission: thin the herd before the hypersonic tips reach the ships. Hornets cut angles and fire, some missiles exploding mid-air. The sky becomes a rolling wall of shrapnel. On the bridge, the Admiral presses for more layers. Lake Champlain. Prepare SM-2. Mason, tighten defense window. Keep the carrier clear. Escorts answer with roars from their launchers. Each missile buys only moments. The Aegis console flashes warnings. 5 threats defeated, 4 more closing. At 7:15, explosions light the horizon. 2 intercepts succeed. 1 warhead breaks through. It dives toward Mason. CIWS guns hammer. White streaks cutting air. Impact close, but not lethal. The destroyer shakes, hull scorched, but the crew holds. An E-2D Hawkeye orbits high, piping a fused picture to every console. Radar, infrared, and jamming return Stitch into one moving map. On deck, crews drag fresh SM-6 canisters forward and arm the next salvo. New sea skimmers flicker low, smaller, faster, harder to kill. The group regroups quickly. Radios crackle with clipped updates. The Admiral knows the first exchange is only the opening bell. The enemy will not stop here. And every ship in the formation feels the weight of what's next. 7:25 local. Several drones slip the net. Chinese sea skimmers ride just above the waves. Their radar cross-sections tiny. Their profiles masked by sea clutter. SM-2 intercepts some, but not all. Alarms echo. The carrier group shifts tactics. Destroyers turn a few degrees to narrow their silhouettes, tightening angles for defense. Gunners brace at their stations. Type 1130. CIWS onshore fires dense shells in the distance. But on the US side, Phalanx guns spin up, ready to meet targets at the last second. The fight is becoming personal human eyes, and reflexes matter now as much as radar screens. Every sailor knows, if one missile slips through, it means fire on deck. Air Q vinked. Air drone shift frequency. Boring static across enemy radars. Pilots report visual contact with J-20s circling high, but they cannot engage, yet the priority is stopping the wave heading straight for port. Deck crews race to rearm Super Hornets. Ordnance rolls on carts. Chains rattle. Engines roar. At 7:40, 4 more YJ-21 appear on screens. They come in staggered, meant to drain interceptors and confuse defenses. Mason and Lake Champlain split fire. SM-6 streaks skyward. Hornets push nose down for intercept angles, and EW drones jam frantically. Explosions bloom, 2 kills, then a miss. The gap tightens. The Admiral makes a call. Shift Switchblade 600 drones forward. The small suicide drones dive on armored columns near Guangzhou, meant to bleed pressure off the coastal launchers feeding this storm. It's a gamble. Take resources from fleet defense to cut the enemy's arm ashore. If it works, launch rates drop. If not, the group pays. On Ford's deck, the noise is constant. Engines, gunfire, shouted orders. In the command center, hands grip rails. Eyes flick from screen to screen. One destroyer lists slightly, its crew fighting flooding, yet the line holds barely. Every second now feels stretched. Crews reload, fire again, and brace for the next flash. The horizon is filled with trails, smoke, and burning wreckage falling to the sea. The carrier still sails, but the cost grows. This is the moment of truth. Will the US fleet's layered defense bend or break? If you think the shield holds, type 1" the comments. If you believe China's pressure wins, type 9. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next clash. 7:50 local. Just as crews reset weapons and pilots refuel, the threat shifts. Radar operators call it first. New contacts. Smaller, faster, hugging the surface. These aren't hypersonic giants, they're low-flying missiles and stealth drones mixed together, launched from hidden trucks inland. The twist lands hard. Unlike earlier waves, these threats skim just above the sea, bouncing signals off waves, nearly invisible until the last miles. Operators struggle to track them, fire control radars jumping from one blip to another. The Admiral orders a new layer. Deploy CRAM. Engage everything. Escorts tighten their circle. Phalanx guns roar. Arcs of tracers stitching across water. CRAM interceptors leap from launchers, diving at skimmers. The crew feels the difference faster, more desperate. A single miss, one blind spot, and the carrier could burn. Above, J-20 fighters dart in and out. evading Hornets, forcing them to split attention. Seconds stretch as pilots juggle air, combat, and interception. On deck, officers shout timing marks, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, as weapons fire in a rhythm of survival. Switchblade drones redirect. Their mission pivots from tanks inland to these low threats. They dive, colliding with missiles mid-arc, detonating fireballs just feet above the waves. The sacrifice buys seconds, but the swarm doesn't thin enough. At 8:05, one drone slips past. CIWS catches it late, riddling it with tungsten rounds, but fragments spray Mason's deck. Sailors drop, smoke rising, yet the destroyer still fights. The admiral's voice stays steady. Hold formation. Keep the carrier alive. Every hand in the group knows the truth. This is the razor's edge. The old playbook doesn't fit. Adapt or lose. 8:20 local. The final wave closes in. This time, the mix is brutal. Low-flying drones, supersonic skimmers, and a pair of stealth J-20 vectoring missiles straight at the fore. Every alarm screams. There is no margin left, only seconds. Engage, engage, engage. The order is shouted across bridges and decks. SM-6 rise one last time, blazing contrails against the dawn. C-RAM spits interceptors at knife range. Phalanx, guns, thunder. Streams of tungsten lighting the sea in white arcs. It feels less like battle and more like survival by reflex. One drone slams into the ocean short of its mark, ripped apart. Another bursts mid-air. But one missile streaks on, head down, angling straight for the cruiser, Lake Champlain. Guns hammer. Shells burst, and at the last second the warhead detonates yards off the bow. The shockwave rocks the ship, showers of water and shrapnel raining down. Crewmen slam to the deck, then rise, still fighting. Above, Hornets duel J-20, missile trails crisscrossing in violent loops. Pilots strain to keep targets locked while dodging their own deaths. One Hornet fires a last AMRAAM. A flare of light marks a kill, and the J-20 spirals away. The other stealth fighter vanishes in the clouds, its missiles already spent. Back at sea level, Switchblades dive in desperation. They crash into skimmers, detonating in waves of spray. Each successful intercept feels like stolen time. The carrier looms in the center, its crew bracing for impact that never comes yet. 8:28. The last inbound closes fast. Mason's CIWS roars, tracers slicing through sky. A burst finds the target, ripping it apart 50 yards out. Flames and debris scatter over the sea. The destroyer shudders but survives. Silence follows, broken only by breathing and crackling radios. The horizon clears. Smoke drifts. Wreckage burns on the waves. The group is scarred but still afloat. For the sailors, it feels like climbing out of fire. For the commanders, its proof-layered defense can hold for now. If you think this showdown shows U.S. steel unbroken, type 1" the comments. If you believe China's pressure will break through next time, type 9 and subscribe so you won't miss what comes after. 8:40 local. The battle is over, but the sea is scarred. Mason's decks are blackened. Lake Champlain lists with shrapnel holes, and 7 sailors lie wounded in the infirmary. Yet no ship is lost. Against dozens of missiles and drones, the strike group still sails. For the crew, that feels like a miracle. For Beijing, it's a reminder that U.S. carriers remain hard targets. The cost is written in wreckage. 3 HQ-9 launchers inland are gone. Fuel depots burn near Guangzhou, and nearly 70 Chinese tanks lie destroyed by switchblades. Billions of dollars in armor and ammunition vanish in fire. Over $10 billion in losses for the PLA just hours after they launched their strike. For Washington, the message is double-edged. Yes, layered defense works. The Ford Group took fire and stayed afloat. But the cost to hold that line climbs each time. Interceptors worth millions, destroyed drones that cost thousands. Every battle like this drains stockpiles, budgets, and nerves. Allies watch closely. Southeast Asian partners see America still defending the lanes. Insurance firms mark risk higher, but not catastrophic. For now, the sea remains open. Yet every analyst notes the same truth. China adapts. Today, it was YJ-21 and swarms. Tomorrow, it may be more waves, more stealth, or heavier salvos. The duel is not over, it is only shifting. Result: U.S. credibility intact, PLA losses massive. But the balance is fragile. A fight measured in minutes now shapes strategy for years. The sailors patch decks, reload magazines, and wait. They know the next strike may come at night, from shore or undersea, and the margin will shrink again. Tonight, the Gerald R. Ford Strike Group held the line. The South China Sea is still open, but will America endure when the next assault doubles the pressure? If you believe U.S. resolve can hold, type 1. If you think China's weight will break through, type 9 and subscribe so you're here for the next clash.